found God within.
You're locked in with Atlanta's hottest hip-hop station. The Hype 87.3.
Holla!
That's right. It is your girl, TampaMystic, and we are live right here in ATL on the Hype 87.3. And today, I heard we got Duval County in the building. DeeVine, look at this beautiful young lady.
Yes.
What's up, lady? How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm so excited to be on the Hype 87.3. And yeah, I'm doing amazing.
I know that's right. First and foremost, you're beautiful. Like, I love the whole image. The aesthetic is giving.
Thank you.
I love the hair. I love the gold nails. Like, y'all, she's a whole vibe.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Introduce yourself.
Okay, yeah, so I am DeeVine, originally from Jacksonville, Florida. I'm currently residing in Chicago, but, you know, I like to move around and never be in one place. But I'm an artist, specifically a rapper. I like to consider myself a genre-defying artist where I like to play around with different genres, different music. I'm all about the girls, okay? So my music is all about empowering women to just feel empowered, feel liberated, feel free, and just be their most authentic selves and not allow the world to confine them just because they consider themselves spiritual, whatever the case may be. So everything I do is a extension of that.
We need a DeeVine out here in the world.
Yes.
We need someone like you that's really an advocate for that, because, you know, some people are uncomfortable with expressing themselves or they feel like they're going to be judged. Who cares?
Exactly.
We can't please everybody, nor should we try to, right?
Exactly.
So how long have you been in Chicago?
Just a year now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so still fairly new for you. I've never been to Chicago. Like, I need to make my way up there. What is it like up there?
Honestly, I live in like the suburbs area, and I'm actually probably leaving soon. I'm sure the city of the Chicago is amazing. Every now and again, I get a chance to get out there, and it's pretty cool. But it's not. I don't think it's for me.
Understood.
But. Yeah, but it's cool. I love it. It's black people everywhere when you're in the city, so I really love that. But other than that, I still don't even know, to be honest.
What took you up there, if you don't mind sharing?
Oh, so what took me up there was, so I was living in Mexico, actually.
Really?
Yes, I lived in Mexico for 2 years.
That's dope.
And during my time in Mexico, I came to this revelation that I really never gave myself a real chance at like pursuing my dream of being an artist.
Yes.
Like it almost was giving hobby for a long time. And I'm like, no, like I'm dead ass. Like I can curse, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm dead ass. I want to do this. You know what I'm saying? So I knew that I had to come back to America to give myself a real chance, because while I was in Mexico, it just wasn't convenient to go to the studio to make music, to, you know, be boots on the ground, really like doing my thing. So it just so happened I met someone who, a friend at the time, and they were like, you know, you should just come here to Chicago and do your thing. Like, you've been talking about that you want to do this for so long. You've been saying you ready to come back to America. And I think I was just so comfortable in Mexico that I never took the actual steps. So when they were like, you can come here for a couple months and, you know, see how it goes, and then we can just go from there. So I was like, you dead ass? They was like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, babe. So I went to Chicago.
And here you are a year later, still there, right?
Exactly. Crazy.
It always works out like that.
like that.
When I moved here, I told everybody, I said, I'm going to go for 5 years and I'm coming back home. Here I am, like almost 13 years later. I'm just
Wow.
like, we just get comfortable, I think, sometimes. Quite the climate change.
I'm over it.
Like, Florida don't get snow like that. They got a little bit this past winter, look crazy enough. But historically, it don't get, and definitely not Mexico, right?
Definitely not.
So, you know, how do you feel like both of them, or all three of them, will say, has shaped your journey and who you are as an artist?
It's definitely, I would say, being that I've always been a person that has gone where the wind has blown me.
Yeah.
Everywhere I've been has shaped me in a way of not conforming to one thing. You know what I'm saying? I feel like every environment brings out a different part of you. So being in Mexico really allowed me to embrace my free spirited nature, allowed for me to be just not attached to anything, allow for me to fully detach from like possessions, material things, and to just go within and just really learn what it means to just be myself. And then being in America, you know, we got bills, we got life, we got responsibilities, we got, you know, so many different things. We got societal norms that we're trying to like overcome and all of those things. So attaching, like taking that part of myself that was like, I don't care, I'm just going to be myself. And then the part of myself in America that's like the hustler, the workaholic, the like, I got to chase this dream. It has allowed me to be a little bit more balanced in my pursuit of the dream.
I love that. And I feel like, you know, what you were saying, going back to being in Mexico, you were able to detach a little bit because I'm sure that they don't have all the luxuries we have here.
Yeah.
It's like being on holiday, you know, for a long extended period of time and just enjoying God's gifts of what he gave us.
Exactly. You realize like there are things that we have here that we feel so entitled and we don't really embrace them. We don't have a lot of gratitude for the little things. And being there, you just find the beauty in nature. You find the beauty in just kindness, because everybody's so kind. Everybody's speaking. They like, you know, telling you good morning all the time. Like you got free access, easy access to the beach, so you can spend a lot of time with the water, by the water, and even just getting access to like fruits with seeds.
Yeah,
was like something that is just like mind blowing.
Right, because everything is genetically modified over here. It's like big pharma and big food.
Exactly.
Like for real. But I feel like, man, I wish every human could get in touch with that side of it at some point in time in their life, because I feel like it would humble a lot of people.
It would. And not only would it humble them, I think it would just put people in a place where we just embrace one another a little bit more, you know?
And I'm big on that. Like I speak on it often. I'm like, little tiny things can go a long way. Like a simple, like you said, a good morning could change someone's entire day, because they could have woke up in a bad mood for whatever reason. And man, and something I do as of lately is I make sure every day I compliment somebody. Typically a stranger. You can read people's energy sometimes. Like you could just tell they look like they're having a bad day. I'd be like, girl, that hat is fire. I become their hype woman.
Right.
And it instantly changes their attitude. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's dope. I love it. So you've been in the industry for 5-ish years professionally.
Well, so I count it as when I started releasing music on like all platforms. You know what I'm saying? Actually like distributing music. But if I can be like completely honest, for me, I feel like the way I've been going this past year, that for me is my like, okay, I'm really doing this for real. Before, you know, it was a dream, but like I said, I don't think I was really moving like I'm moving now. Like no comparison at all. Like now this is all I'm doing.
I know what I'm saying?
Right. Before it was the 9-to-5 job. It was whenever I can get to an open mic. You know what I'm saying? It was all of those things. But now it's like I got my price. I'm sticking to it. I'm making my music. I'm focused on an extension of myself as the artist. So whether that means working out, my wellness, my fitness, my health, like making sure that I'm in the best state of being in all facets, mental, physical, spiritually, for the artist that is DeeVine.
I love that, and I love the fact that you're incorporating that into your life at a young age.
Yeah,
you don't have to share your age, but I can say you young. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, you know what they say.
The black don't crack. Is that what you want to say? Say it, sis. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
But no, I mean, just realistically, a lot of people don't start thinking about those things until they get to my age. And sometimes by then it's too late.
Right.
They're already diabetic. They're already this. They're already that, versus, you know, doing preventative measures at a young age. So I commend you for doing that, you know.
Thank you.
And like when you get up on that stage perform, you want to like give the best energy possible, right?
You want to be able to breathe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Bruh, I've had artists, they'll come off that stage, bless their heart, and I'm like, do you need an oxygen tank or something? Like, because they be like, out of 3 minutes, they can't breathe.
Yeah.
Definitely. So what would you say over this last year that you've really been running hard with it has been one of the biggest lessons that you've had to endure and learn?
Oh, the biggest lessons. That it's okay to say no to opportunities. Like, I think when you're an independent artist and like you say, it's saturated, you be like, whatever I can get. And people take advantage of that. People be offering you crumbs.
Yeah.
And we accept it because we don't, I don't think we truly realize that being the artist in itself is of value. I think people think because you make music that all this shit is free. They like, oh, you should just be grateful that you're coming here and I'm giving you this platform. But it's like, what would your platform even be if without the artist, if your platform is for artists?
Right.
So a lot of times we would just accept opportunities that would come to us for nothing. They're like, you could just come, you can perform for 15 minutes, be out of breath, you know what I'm saying?
Sweaty,
and
out of
not giving you
breath.
shit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not even none of the money that we made off of you and these tickets and all of that stuff. So I feel like the wool was taken from over my eyes, those rose-colored lenses, and realized that when I said no to the crumbs, it allowed me to open myself up to what I was actually worth and the value that I could receive as an artist.
Absolutely, because I feel like if someone reaches out to you and wants you to come on their platform, they should be ready to compensate you, right?
Hello.
Because they see value in what you do.
Hello.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if you want to book on that platform, okay, maybe you're going to do it for the free ski, or in the early days you might have to pay to get on it. But it gets to a point where it's like if people start reaching out to you, it's because they see the value in you and they see you bringing value to their platform. Exactly. So I agree with you on that. And to add what you said, learning to say no, but we got to learn to say no without explaining ourselves.
That part, period.
I used to always want to explain why I say no. Now it's just no. Mm-hmm. Period. Like, we ain't got to tell them why. It's just no.
Mm-hmm. And they'll figure it out.
Exactly. Like it or not. Sorry, not sorry, right? So your music blends like hip hop, neo soul, and even some spoken word in it. Let's talk about that. You know, what does your creative process look like when you're, you know, incorporating? Because I heard you say you also do multiple genres as well.
My creative process, I mean, as of late, it starts with the beat. It has, because I've been blessed to have been given, you know, having producers who just send me stuff and they're like, do whatever you feel. And it has allowed me to really play around with the different genres. Because, you know, at some point, as a lot of times as independent artists, all we really got access to is YouTube.
Exactly,
you know and we have our favorite artists who beats we like. So we're like looking up J. Cole type beats.
Right.
And like we only are rapping in that style. But when I feel like when you start working with producers and they know you, they and they also realize that you're in a space of exploration, they start playing around with you, you know what I'm saying? So it has really given me the opportunity to just write and to just free myself. And then I also got to a point where when we speak about opening ourselves up to being able to do more, I realized that I was putting myself in a box as an artist. And it wasn't truly authentic. Like, it was authentic to a part of me, but I'm so many things. I'm like, how can I allow myself to express all that I am? And I realized it was a matter of just opening up and allowing my inner child to play and just to not take this shit so serious. So when I stopped taking it so serious, that's when I was able to make music that people really enjoyed. And it wasn't just reaching, you know, that niche community. It was being open to more of like a global platform and like connecting with more people. So now my process looks like just, you know, whatever comes to my mind, like what, and then just running with that instead of like, sometimes I'll have like poetry that I write and I'll just so happen to like hear a beat and I'm like, oh shoot, I wrote something I feel like could kind of go with this.
Okay.
But now I'm just, me and the beat are like becoming one. I'm like, what comes up? And I'm just running with it.
I feel like you enjoy the process more when you do it that way because you're not putting so much pressure on yourself.
Yeah.
We as humans have to give ourselves grace from time to time. And a lot of artists that I've talked to said that they would go really hard on themselves and it caused them to almost fall out of love with the process.
100%.
You know, because it's like going and clocking into a job you don't like. You're like, man, I don't want to be here. I want to quit, you know. But when you dive into something and you're doing it like on your terms, man, that's a beautiful thing right there.
Yeah, and that's the thing about being an independent artist that, you know, of course we want the connections, of course we want the cosigns and all the things, the labels and all those things, but the beauty of being independent in the beginning is being able to do everything. And I don't think we do that. Sometimes we be trying to like brand ourselves so soon without giving ourselves the opportunity to explore the sound. And so now I'm in a position where I'm exploring the sound. I'm like, I might sound a little crazy, but I'm gonna see how, if I put a little melodic tone on here and see how this sounds. And I'm like, I might not be able to like sound like fucking, you know, a singer, Janet Jackson or something. But, you know, if fucking Hoochie or whoever, you know, these different people can get on there and sing with them vocals, why can't I do it?
You sure can.
So now I'm like getting on the track, singing a little bit, and people are like fucking with it. And I'm like, oh shit.
Do you feel like, being that you want to experiment with your voice and your sound, that are you more comfortable being in the studio like with not so many people there, so you can kind of dive into that a little bit more?
Yeah, you know, actually I've only really been in the studio by myself.
Okay.
Like just me and the engineer.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking forward to being in the studio with more people, just because I do value being able to like get other opinions, because at the end of the day, the music is to be received by others, and I want to be a better artist. So because I want to be a better artist, I'm open to like having somebody in the studio like, try doing this, or actually hearing you go. Like, I hate being in a studio with an engineer and like, I'm paying you, you know, and not only that, you're engineering this song, so you should want to make sure that like this artist is giving their all. So if I go in a booth and I do it and you don't be like, nah, you can go a little bit harder. Like, I know I can go harder. You know what I'm saying? I know that first time, you know, even just now when we was doing the thing, I'm like, oh, the first time I messed up a little bit, round 2, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Take 2, try again. It's like that second time, sometimes you got to warm up,
Absolutely.
you know? So I'm looking forward to being around people that want me to be a better artist and are constantly, you know, pushing me to do more.
I want to speak a little bit more on this engineering situation, because I agree with you on that, because whatever you do is a reflection of them.
Right.
So it's like, I agree with you. As an engineer, like, why would you not want to hype them up a little bit, or maybe have them redo it, or like you say, maybe change up something a little bit? Because when that song comes out and if it's kind of bland, people are like, well, who was the engineer on that?
Exactly.
Oh, it was so and so. We gonna run tell that, right? Yeah. So it's like, as engineers, y'all, like, you know, if you need to increase your rate $5 an hour to be a little bit more engaged,
creative,
then that's what you got to do. But it's a reflection of them too. I agree. Production wise, who are some producers you're working with right now?
Well, right now I've worked with one producer, TZ So Retarded. It's his tag.
I love that. That's
TZ,
dope.
Yeah, he's from Louisiana. He's produced a lot of the music I put out recently. So shout out to him for just being an amazing partner and collaborator in my journey that has allowed me to even get to this point now, because he's been so like, you know, he's been working with me like, hey, I've been working on this, check it out, what you think, do whatever you feel, you know. And then we got Samaj, which I recently worked with, and we did a song recently that is really catching on, and that was my first time really being on that type of sound, which I don't even know what genre to call it for real, but it was fun, it was different for me. It was not traditional hip-hop, R&B, any of that. There probably is a genre for it, but I'm just the artist, okay? Like, I'm just a girl, okay? But, yeah, so shout out to him. And then also my engineer, he's also a producer, Pharaoh Bandcamp. He's been producing a lot of my music. He's actually produced the song that we're going to be listening to today. So shout out to him as well. And recently I put out a very dope ballroom remix to the song Do It The Same with DJ Loki out in Jersey. So really excited for that one to continue to like blow up and do its thing, because it's an amazing song. And in the future I'm gonna be working with a lot more producers, so
I know that's right. Clock that. Oh, we at the same time. Listen, I'm big on manifestation.
Yes.
We got to put it out there to the universe. And I feel like working with some great producers like you are is important, because they will bring you out of that box per se. Like you said, you're like, I don't even know what the genre is called, but it was fire, right?
Yeah.
If you hadn't worked with that producer, it may have never happened.
Exactly. No, 100%.
Definitely. So you had a record that went viral in trending on IG called Birthday Brat.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay. First and foremost, like, tell us, you know, a little bit about the concept of the song, because, you know, just we could draw our own concept or thought of the title. And what did it feel like to go viral, for people to be, you know, tapping in and probably making videos and etc. to the record?
Yeah. You know what's so funny about when that happened? I was so shocked, because I tell you no lie, I got the screenshots in my phone. Maybe a couple days before, I put a thing on my story that said, it's so dope to see that check mark by my song, because on Instagram it's trending when you see that little check mark.
Correct.
And I just put that on my story.
I know that's right.
And sure enough, like a couple days later, I saw a freaking trend. I was like, what the fuck is that? Is this am I really saying this? And for sure it was. But having that song do well, of all the music that I've ever fucking made and put out, really showed me to like relax, because that song was the most unserious song I've ever made. Because I actually made it in the studio. So even that, like, I was on the way to the studio and I knew I wanted to do a birthday song, because I thought about it. I'm like, why have I never done a birthday song?
They're
like,
anthems.
No shade, but like, we all should be doing birthday songs.
I agree.
If you're an artist, like, you should have a birthday song. And I'm like, why have I never done this? So I told my producer, I'm like, I want a birthday song. Can you send me a beat that we can like dance to, whatever? But he never sent it to me. My birthday was like in another week or so, and I was getting ready to go on vacation. So I'm listening to all the beats he sent so far that I've never done anything to, that I came across this beat. And immediately I'm like, bitch, it's my birthday. Just so simple. I'm like, bitch, it's my birthday. And then I get to the studio and I go into the booth, and he's just like, just punch. So every single line, I'm just like, throw confetti, pop champagne, cash me out, going, like, very just simple little one-liners back to back to back. Didn't even, and it was just fun. But the concept too, it made me think about how, like, for me, I remember growing up and I had a little sister. She was a spoiled brat. And I used to just take the L a lot of times as the older sister, because she would always just be like, she'd give my dad like hell if like he did. Like, I remember one time it was my birthday and she had an attitude. So my dad literally came to me and was like, can I buy her this gift so she can just relax? And he bought her this little necklace, Hello Kitty necklace set, and she changed her whole attitude. And so for me, that song really allowed me to channel my inner child of her,
yes,
who did get what she wanted and was being a brat, and it worked out. And I'm like, do I have to be a brat to get what I want? So that's what that whole song is really about, like that spoiled ass inner child who wants all the things but afraid to ask for it. But then you realize once you close mouths don't get fed, once you say it. And sure enough, that's what that song was about. And then the song went viral. People are using it for their birthday. And I was like, okay, so don't take it serious. Got it.
Absolutely, and I agree with you. Songs like that, they're truly anthem records. Who doesn't want to go to the club on their birthday, or in a lounge or wherever you're at, and have a birthday song come on? Yeah. Like Trap Beckham, you know, one time for the birthday bitch.
Exactly.
You know, people still play that song, and it's a few years old now. Birthday Brat's gonna be one of them records.
Thank you.
Yeah, listen, y'all clock that.
Clock that tea.
So you call your community, and hopefully I'm saying this right, it's your community that you call spiritual hoochie.
Oh yeah, spiritual hoochie.
Okay.
Yeah. So
first of all, I love that.
Thank you.
Listen, I feel like we gotta have a name, whether it's for our community or fan base, whatever. Like, we don't want to just call people fans, right? Yeah. What does that identity represent for you and your supporters?
Yeah, so spiritual hoochies, in layman's terms, is really just the girls who are very intentional. They're very tuned in, tapped in, turned on. They're spiritual, but they might not, on the outside looking in, you might not be able to perceive that per se. Like, these are the girls who people are probably calling hoochies, who people are probably calling whores, and all of those different derogatory terms. And we just took that term and gave it a new, you know what I'm saying? Like, I remember growing up, and hoochie wasn't necessarily a derogatory term. Like, the women were calling themselves hoochies. Like, it was like, I grew up, you know what I'm saying? My dad was one of the people at Freaknik doing the airbrush shirts and all this different stuff.
I was at Freaknik too, I probably met your dad out there.
Probably did. And so yeah, it was never, to me, it was never nothing that I viewed as like I should be embarrassed to use this. Actually, for me, it means I'm free. It means I'm liberated. It means that I'm authentic, because I don't care that you view this term as something negative, and actually I'm viewing it as something positive. And kind of like the B word, right? It's in the way that we receive it and in the way that we use it. So for me, being a spiritual hoochie, that's what it means. It's like, I'm a spiritual woman who's not confined in this religious box, and I'm free and I'm liberated and I'm authentic more than anything.
I love that. Okay, so I'm officially a spiritual hoochie.
Period.
Okay.
We got a new one.
Got a new one.
Check.
Induct me into the spiritual hoochie community, because that's how I feel too. Like I don't box myself into any religion, because I feel like I can take a little bit from all of them.
Exactly.
I'm definitely more on the spiritual side. With you being like liberated, and you said you're here, you're for the ladies, you're for the girls. Do you feel like men get intimidated by that?
Yes, but at the same time, I think as of late, something about the way we've been building the community, I've been portraying myself the way that, we've been just creating content. I'll say essentially, a lot of men have actually come around. Like they're spiritual hoochie daddies. Okay. You know what I'm saying?
With their hoochie daddy shorts on. Yeah, come on. I want to see them thighs.
Me too. And so they're actually coming around. And I think what we're doing is we're building a space within the world for women to feel safe in that. Because if we're being honest, a lot of our safety issues has a lot to do with men.
Absolutely.
So by us doing it still and educating as we go and changing that narrative is allowing them to see that, like, stop being so fucking basic. Just because I look like this does not mean that you got access to anything between my pants, between my legs. So the men, when I really knew the shift is when I could post a nude picture and people are just like, this is art.
It is art.
It is art.
Absolutely.
But at some point you see other people post certain stuff and you see people in the comments like, why are you on here naked? Like, why, you're doing it, these kids, but I don't get that. And it really went to show me that it's an energy thing.
Yes.
And that's what makes it a spiritual hoochie.
I love that, because again, people should not judge someone based upon what they have on. Like,
right.
We live in a world where perception is everything.
Yeah.
And in some situations, that's cool. Like, you don't want to walk into a spot, and if this place was like looking like a trap house, you might be questioning about walking in here, right? So in situations like that, you want to have a good perception. But when it comes to us as human beings, I feel like people judge us too much based upon what we look like.
Right.
Maybe because we've got rings in our nose or whatever. And I'm like, does that change us because we've got tattoos? Does it? If we erased it, would we be a different person? No. So I love that you're out here really standing on 10 toes for the ladies and for the fellas too.
Yeah, 100%. Because even with the men, like, there are men who are really in a space where they're embracing their balance of energies. They're realizing that just because they're men, that doesn't mean they have to be hyper masculine, and they shouldn't be in touch with their femininity. And it's a lot of negative connotations associated with the term feminine and men. So I think even within this platform, and even within what we're saying, what we're pushing, men are realizing that they too can be spiritual hoochie daddies, and whatever that means. Like, they can present themselves in ways that are not the typical hyper masculine toxicity.
Absolutely. I've been on that for years. I tell men, because I'm older than most of the men that come through here, they're younger than me, and they will tell me how they were taught growing up that you got to be hard. You don't cry, toughen up. I'm like, it's okay to cry as a man. Like, if you got emotion, you got to let it out, do it. Yeah. Like, don't let anybody make you feel like you're soft because of that. Right. You have to have that emotional intelligence as a man or a woman. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. So you speak on duality and anti-boxes. Ooh. Let's talk about that a little bit. How do you walk the line between sacred and seductive in your music?
Ooh. Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you walk the line between sacred and seductive? In my music, I would say it's about, like I said, the intention more than anything. I'll never stop saying, like, when Solange in that song said it wasn't Ashley, it was Solange's song, but in the song she said, do nothing without intention. Love that, because do nothing without intention. And that's really what it boils down to. Yes. Whatever you do, when you're intentional about it, you feel the shift in the energy. That intention you put into it is what people feel. You can literally be drinking a shot of tequila and you speak over that tequila like, cheers to whatever. That is an intention.
Yes.
And it manifests. And that's what it does to your body. And, when you just be out here like, just throwing shit out there and you're not intentional, then you get whatever your energy is already speaking. So with my music, I try to be very intentional about the words that I use. And because the beauty of like having a full song is it allows you to like put so much into it, so that, you know, in one line I can say something that might be perceived a little secular, but then in another line, I can say something that is a much more sacred, and people are going to resonate with it, because regardless of whether you embrace it or not, we are spiritual beings living a human experience. So because we are, a lot of us are out here doing human shit that would be perceived as secular or would be perceived as a sin.
Yes.
And we might not, you know, like I said, we might not embrace it, but we're doing it. So now I think me giving a voice to the spiritual hoochies, me giving a voice to those of us that are not putting ourselves in boxes, are making people feel seen, heard, but not only that, feeling safe to be that.
100%. I have a friend of mine who's a pastor, and he's always said, he's like, I'm a pastor, but I'm a human being first.
Exactly.
People tend to tense up when they say, oh, you're a pastor, let me act a certain way.
Exactly.
He's like, you ain't got to change how you are. If you need to cuss, whatever it is, I'm a human being first. And I feel like if people would look at it from that aspect, they would be a little bit more intentional. And I feel like setting them boundaries is super important too.
Yeah, it is.
When it comes to personal or business.
Yeah.
Because like you said, people will run all over you. We have to be intentional with everything we do. So when you're on stage, are you channeling a higher version of yourself, or are you just kind of letting like your full self just breathe out loud?
Oh, that. Okay, I hear you, Tampa. You know, that's a really good question. And I honestly never thought about the second part, but I would say it's both. Because I think when it becomes your default to be so tuned in with your higher self, at any given moment, she's going to make herself known.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I'm on stage, sometimes I'll be super nervous before I go up. And then as soon as I get up there and I grab the mic, it's like something comes over me.
Yeah, it's like a release.
And sometimes I even do that when I get on stage. I'll get up there and I'll be like, all right, everybody breathe. Like, we all gonna breathe together.
Yeah.
And then it just releases the tension, and now I can just do me. I can just be. So I definitely breathe myself out, and I think through the start that I grab the mic and I put the mic down is a big exhale.
Yes. That one of my all-time favorite movies is Waiting to Exhale. I've watched that movie like 11 times. And that one part when she's like, it just feels good. Like, because we have sometimes so much pent up negative energy from being around other people inside of us. We got to let it go.
Yeah, we do.
We have to exhale, definitely. So you're on tour right now.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. What cities have you or are you going to touch during the tour?
Okay, so we've been to Atlanta already, May 9th. If you missed out, you missed out. But you didn't miss out, because we're on our way to New York in the tri-state area on July 19th. If you're in the tri-state area, come and see what all the hype is about. Okay?
I know that's
We're
right.
We're going to be going to Chicago on August 29th. If you're in Chicago or surrounding areas, come and see what the hype is all about. Okay,
That needs to be the new slogan.
Yes, it is at this point. And then we're going to LA on September 12th. Come and see what the hype is all about. And then lastly, we're going to be in Miami, Florida. I need y'all to, more than anything, I need y'all to come out and show out, because I am originally from Florida, and I'm really in a space where I'm like, I need to connect more with my people. But this tour is very special to us, because we're taking my mixtape and we're creating an experience in each city that is not like the one prior to allow the consumers of the music to come out and not only hear the music, but experience it. And, you know, a lot of times we go to listening parties and that's what we do. We be in a studio and we just listen to the music. Yeah. We be like, okay, that was a vibe. But that's not what we're doing. We're actually creating a whole sensory experience around it. Come and smell the music. Come and taste the music. Come in, see the music. Come in, see the art. And that's what we're cultivating. We have a whole team behind it. Shout out to Serenity House and everybody that has been making this possible for me, because this is my first time doing something like this. And I really do think that this is definitely a pivot in my career from the hobbyist that does music to the professional that is an artist.
I love that you're creating an experience because I feel like that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is.
Like you said, that sensory. So let me ask you kind of off the wall question.
Mm-hmm.
If your music was a flavor, what would it taste like?
Oh, yeah. If it was a flavor. She's hilarious, y'all. Y'all know Naisha is over here in the corner. She's so funny.
She over there cutting up.
She is cutting up. I can't even concentrate. Anyways, if my music.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Okay. If my music was I think it would taste like coconut and vanilla.
That's my favorite scents. I love me some good coconut vanilla.
Yes.
Not all of them fly, but I'm getting beach vibes. That good coconut
100%.
vanilla. Man, that is dope. See? Y'all got to tap in with your senses.
Yes, you do.
Also, too, really important to you is having good management. You have a beautiful management.
Yes.
So important. Look.
That make me cry.
Clock that.
So grateful for
I
her.
feel like the decision of having someone in place to manage your career is probably one of the most important decisions that you'll make throughout your entire career. How did you guys connect?
Man, I think we've probably been connecting telepathically for a few years now. And honestly, probably since I came, I ain't going to get too, let me stop. But definitely, I think we've been kind of connecting for a while now. We've been following one another on social media. And, we've had some interactions prior to. And I really think... And she can tell me what it is because I don't know. But I really believe, like, when I put out this mixtape, Gift of Gab, and it was, the embodiment of duality. And once I did this rollout, which I've been doing all my rollouts, everything by myself for the past few years.
Yeah.
And when I put that out, I was like, you know what? I need a team. I actually said it. I asked. And by the grace of God, I was given.
Asking, you shall receive, right?
I made a whole list. I was like, I need street team. I need a manager. I need this. I need that. And I put it in my note on Instagram. I was like, oh, I need a manager or something. And she was like, all right, fuck it, I'm your manager. And like that was it.
That's
but
right.
Prior to, we had a few conversations where we was just kind of getting to know each other. Like. She was, wondering what my goals were and all of those things. But then I put out that mixtape and I put out that thing. And she was like, you know what, fuck it. We're going to do this. And I was like, we going to do this? And we was like, we doing this. And it was just natural. To be honest, like, even though I don't know what other people's stories are like, but for some reason, it just makes sense. Like, it almost feels like we have this, like, sister connection. And when we first got on the phone and we decided to move forward with this, it just felt so warm, so natural, so intuitively channeled. Like God, the ancestors was like, y'all got to work together.
Absolutely. It's definitely all God right there, aligning everything. And I love the fact you said that she asked you like what your goals and stuff are, because I feel like that's important to make sure her vision, your vision are aligning with each other. Some people won't take the time. All they're seeing is, oh, this person might make me a lot of money. She had your best intentions at heart, man. That's beautiful.
Sure.
Absolutely. What is her Instagram? Shout her out so people can follow her too.
Yes, at Naisha with 2 E's, D, Naisha D. And also shout out to at Join the House spelled Haus. Check them out as well, because they work with other artists as well on, the wellness side of things, because a lot of times as artists, we just be about the art, the hustle. And when you really out here hustling and moving like you do, you really have to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And that's what Serenity House is all about, making sure that the artists are taking care of their mind, body, soul, spirit.
That is facts, because people lose sleep, they eat like crap, and I'm like, our body is like a battery. We have to recharge it. Like, I make sure I get my sleep at night. When I was younger, I was like, oh, team, no sleep. Now I'm like, team, I need all the sleep.
Exactly.
Because it makes you on alert, forgetful, cranky. I'm like, all them good things. So that's beautiful that you have a great team around you.
Yeah, and artists are like losing their lives.
They are like crazy.
And me being someone who is spiritual, I can't help but, not to say this in a way that might seem a little like insensitive, but energy is so real. Yeah. And when you don't take care of yourself, you attract a lot of harm to yourself. So I do think it's really important to make sure that we actually prioritize that over the art, so that when we do put out the art, it can be received well and it can be in love, even if you rapping about some like real tough stuff.
Yeah.
You know, at least you're okay, because a lot of times this music is brain food, you know, and when you're repeating those words over and over and over again, you are making that your reality. So at least you can do is like make sure that you're grounded within yourself, even though you out here saying, I'm gonna kill all of these.
I know, right? Listen, I agree with you. So let me ask you this, you know, what would be your like number one piece of advice that you would offer? And we're going to direct it to the ladies, you know, because we're in a room full of ladies. Any young ladies that are just starting out in their music path, you know, what would be like one piece of advice that you would give them?
One piece of advice that I would give the young women that are out here starting their journey in music, I would 100% tell them to spend time alone. Like, I really do think it's important, because a lot of times as women, we can't help but just nurture and give our energy to people around us. Yeah. So when you know what it's like to feel your own energy, then you can be grounded in knowing what's yours and what's not. Because a lot of times we'll be out here in the world, and a lot of us are empaths. We'll feel other people's energy, and sometimes we can't even tell the difference between what's mine and what's somebody else's shit. So when you know that, like, this is my shit and this is somebody else's, I can take that weight and I can sit it down and I can tell myself this does not belong to me. And I think you can only really do that when you know what it's like to be in a space with nothing but your own energy. I
agree, because I in hindsight kind of scan over my life. I feel like some of the best moments were when I was by myself. You know, like I've had some relationships, some toxic-ish or whatever, and I'm not saying it was all bad, but I feel like some of the highlight moments was when it was just me, myself, and I. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I agree with you. Great piece of advice. Young ladies, don't feel like you got to constantly have people around you. You know, like take that time. And I feel like that goes for the men, too.
It does.
Just take some time for yourself. If there was one song in your catalog that would describe you the best, what would it be?
Oh, I wouldn't say Not On My Frequency. But you said one. That's so hard, because I think it's between Not On My Frequency and Gratitude.
Okay.
Gratitude, I think Gratitude in a different kind of way is really just me talking my shit in a very, like, if you get it, you get it kind of way. Yeah. But then also for me, Not On My Frequency is also spoken in a little bit more layman's terms, and more so it's very like the things that I'm saying, I think people will really get to know who I am. And sometimes, like, one of the things you'll hear in my music a lot, I'm always talking about astrology. Yeah. So I think even in that alone, you get to know me. And yeah, it's hard. It's between those two songs for sure.
So maybe we got to do some kind of combo of the two records, you know, like intertwine them. What is your zodiac sign?
Pisces.
You're a Pisces. Okay, cool. Definitely. I'm a Taurus, you know, but I feel like we got the kind of similar energies.
Yeah, funny enough, even in my song, Not On My Frequency, I said, well, I'm you're a Taurus. Well, I'm in Pisces, exalted in Venus, because, you know, you're ruled by Venus.
Absolutely.
And as a Pisces, I'm exalted in Venus. So I'm my best self when the energy is Venus.
See, that's why we right here.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. If you could finish this sentence for me, right? Yeah. DeeVine isn't just an artist. She's a
powerhouse.
That was quick and easy for you. I love it.
Thank you.
Break that down for us.
A powerhouse is just someone who is multifaceted, someone who in everything they do, like, you feel the power, you feel the energy, and I think they have the ability to shift whatever you want to finish that sentence with. Shift rooms, shift energies, shift movements, shift all of those different things. I've come to really, like, understand and embrace my influence. I know a lot of times as content creators, we, like, kind of shy away from that term because it's been, you know, the clout of it and all of that. But I think when you really embrace that you are an influence, then you be a little bit more intentional about your influence, and you allow yourself to, like, influence people in a way that is impactful. Yes. And not just some bullshit.
I agree, because positive stuff can go viral too. Yeah. It doesn't always have to be the weirdo stuff. Like, there are some people that I follow or I'll see come down my timeline, and they got massive followings and big views, and it's all on some positive stuff. Yeah. So I feel like you can put that out to the world too. Yeah. Before we get in and take a deeper dive talking into your current music, is there anything else outside of the tour that you're working on that we need to know about?
Oh my gosh.
Or any big goals you're manifesting?
You know, so outside of the tour, I'm definitely outside of the tour. I feel like that's where my excitement is.
Yeah.
But
what about film? Let me throw that out there.
Oh, you know.
Yeah, let's throw that out there
because I love film.
Okay.
Like people oftentimes talk about how like with a lot of these movies and stuff that are coming out, like what, you know, the energy of it and repeating the same old stories and the representation and all of that stuff. But I think when I watch film, I watch from an eye of a future director. Like I really see myself one day directing film. I see myself screenwriting. I almost see that as like a retirement plan, because I think, you know, when I'm a little bit older and I'm not quite you know, touring and all the things, even though I see myself being like Lauryn Hill, baby, she's still touring.
I know that's
every
right.
year. Like I'm gonna be up there right along with her. But I definitely see myself diving into film as well, and I really enjoy film and I enjoy storytelling more than anything. I'm really looking forward to the day that I can take my music and cultivate a film around it.
That is dope, and that's something even you could tap into now is like sync licensing, getting your music into films, commercials, things like that. Definitely. I don't know, I'm getting that energy from you. Like I could see you, like whether it's behind the scenes or on the big screen, but something to do with film. So
thank you.
Manifestation. We're manifesting that.
Yes, I love that. I appreciate you asking that, because how could I forget? We could be a little run track minded sometimes.
Listen, I understand.
Yes, I love it. I'm obsessed.
So what do you hope that people feel or confront within themselves after listening to Gift of Gab EP?
Ooh, I really hope that they confront what issue they have with women, period. And then also what I hope that women that listen to the music confront the parts of themselves that feel shame around certain parts of themselves that they suppress. And I think when you hear the music, you might resonate with certain things that are being said, but when you think about it, or you might be triggered by certain things. And I am of the belief that triggers are just nothing more than like notifications to the body about things that we should be aware of, whether it's a part of ourselves, whether it's like bringing up some type of trauma that we need to address, or whatever the case may be. So I really hope when people listen to it, they either like realize like, damn, I can be spiritual, but I can also have fun, and I can allow myself to experience the human part of this experience. And then I also hope that they just confront, like I said, those parts of themselves that feel shame around their sexuality and their sensuality in coordination, in collaboration, whatever, with their spiritual self.
I love that. That was a great answer.
Thank you.
Really taking accountability with a lot of things. I feel like we as humans, oftentimes we don't take accountability. Like my business partner, so you know, Bigger, he always says, stop pointing the finger and start pointing the thumb. Take accountability. People be quick to blame other people for why their shit's not working out. It's like, nah, let me figure it out. It ain't nobody else's problem. But like you said, also too, just riding that spiritual journey, understanding that it is okay. Yeah, it is. It is okay, definitely. So we've got your record loaded up and ready to go. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, definitely. So it's called Gratitude.
Yes.
I know you briefly talked about it a few minutes ago, but really take a deep dive on what this song means to you.
Yeah, so gratitude is about recognizing, you know, I grew up in church, you know what I'm saying? Even though I consider myself to be more spiritual now, I don't take away from all of the experiences or all of the things I learned. And I would say the one thing that has really stuck out to me through all of the religions, like I grew up, you know, Christian, but I did at some point, I was Muslim as well. So one of the things I took away from all of that is that we are an extension of God, and I am of the belief that if I am an extension of God and God is within me, then am I too not a God in my own right? Ooh, not too much. Clock it. So I remember being a kid and always being told I had an attitude. Even to this day, I got people out, they probably listening right now. Even to this day, I got people out there
I told her that.
talking about I got an attitude problem. And The thing about it is, I recognize that when you have the attitude of a God, you just move different. And so that's what gratitude is about. And it's like, yeah, I do have attitude, and my attitude is an attitude of a God. So the song really just dives deep into these one-liners, bar for bar for bar, of different things that I feel like spiritual people or just goddesses, and people that do understand their power, because that's all it is. Like, it's recognizing that I have power as well. And a lot of times we don't give ourselves that right when God gave it to us first, because we don't really understand. I ain't got to get into that too much, but like, we interpret things that we're taught in very different ways. What I was taught, the way I interpreted that is that, whoa, if this all being that's so powerful, I'm an extension of that, then I too am powerful. And so now I'm in a space where I'm embracing that power. I'm like, shit, I understand things differently. I perceive life differently. I see the signs all around me. I see the, you know what I'm saying, me being here with Tampa. People might be like, you're delusional, but like, you're Tampa. I'm from Florida. That's a sign.
It's not, okay, we in Atlanta. It was divine. It was written. It was divine. We were supposed to come. And I feel like people that we slick kind of rub the wrong way with our attitude, because I hear it a lot. I be pissing people off because I speak my truth. And I stand firm on that. I feel like people who get offended by that without trying to figure out maybe why we said what we said, they need to work on themselves a little 100%, bit. You know, they're not confident within themselves, because I've had people that will get rubbed the wrong way by me, and I don't ever do anything to intentionally hurt someone's feelings. I'm just speaking my truth. They'll come back to me later and thank me.
That part.
They're like, I've had people, they're like, man, thank you, because you put me in check to really set those boundaries and, like, not allow people to come in and take your good energy from you.
Yeah, I love that growth for them.
Yeah, definitely. So we got the record loaded up. Again, before we get into it, is there anything else coming down the pipeline? Anything else we need to know about before we check out the song?
I don't want to overwhelm the people too much. Only thing y'all need to be worried about is making your way downtown, walking fast, bringing your ass to the Gift of Gab immersive experience. So whether you meet us in Chicago, if you're in Atlanta, the flights are really cheap. I just flew down here from Atlanta, and I bought the flight a couple of days before. It's pretty affordable. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be worth it, because this experience is like an activation. You know what I'm saying? Like, you will leave feeling different. And not only will you leave feeling different, but you'll also leave with having been able to experience an emerging artist beforehand. Like, how amazing is it to be able to say, I was there before this person blew up, and I genuinely know where I'm going. And I think a lot of the people that do follow me and fuck with me, they see it too. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long road, but it's inevitable. So we're putting on this tour is to create an intimate experience with the people, so that they can come and see what the hype is all about. So that when the hype is hyping, they like, oh shit, I knew first.
I completely resonated with that, because that's exactly why I do what I do. I've interviewed plenty of celebrities, but 95% of the people I sit down with are artists on the rise, because I always feel like I want to be a part of their journey. How can I help? How can I be a part of that? It's no shade, but there's some people out there do what I do, and they will only interview people if they're celebrities. And I'm like, well, what about the artists on the rise who are out here hustling and grinding until they get to that point?
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Yeah, I felt that. I felt that 100%. So Gratitude, is there an official video for it yet?
It is, and there's a remix.
Okay.
So the official video is from the remix. So shout out to Lava. But the remix is out now. It's a movie. It's fire. Go check it out on YouTube at DeeVine, DeeVine, and enjoy.
Well, I got actually one more question for you. You had mentioned earlier that you're not 100% sure if you do want to stay in Chicago.
Well, I know it's not 100%.
Okay, so any thoughts of where you would like to go next? Or do you not want to share it?
Well, I don't mind sharing, because at the end of the day, I ain't locked into nothing I say.
That's right.
You have the right to change your mind.
Yes.
But right now, actually, I'm exploring. I heard some of what you said, and I ain't gonna lie, you kind of don't be making me nervous. But I am considering coming out here for a little bit.
Okay.
we'll see where that takes me. But, you know, I've never stayed anywhere too long. So I lived in Dallas for a few years. I lived in Virginia for a few years.
Oh, wow.
I lived in Mexico. I lived in Chicago now. And then I'll probably come out here and do an Atlanta run.
I feel like if you have that mindset with it, that you're not coming here and this is the end all,
No.
then it's okay.
I don't even want it to be the be all.
Right, exactly. And some people feel like, let me go to Atlanta and that's where I'm going to spend the rest of my life. And
Yeah.
I feel like anytime you leave your city, you should never look at it that way. Unless, you know, maybe you jump out of the industry, you get married, you settle down. That's...
Right.
I ain't looking to do all that right now. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like, I feel like that would be good because there is a lot of opportunities out here. Yeah. But I love the fact that you're like, okay, let me do what I got to do there and boom, move on to the next one. Yeah. That's where you're different from other artists, you know, because they feel like they come out here and this is it. No, you still got to move around. You still got to do a lot of different things.
For sure.
I know you mentioned your YouTube channel. Where else can people follow you on all your socials?
Mostly, I really spend a lot of time on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I do have, like I said, a community. So if you want to like connect with me on a more personal level and be able to actually like learn and experience what it means to like embody your duality and really just be authentic and get the tools and the resources, like I have a whole team of you know, spiritual hoochies who have different expertises to guide us through our journey of embodiment in the spiritual hoochie sanctuary. So we have that community as well. But other than that, I spend a lot of time on Instagram.
Got you. And for booking, they need to reach out to your manager.
Yeah, don't talk to me. Don't even DM me unless you're saying, girl, I love you. And I'm going to be like, I love you too.
Follow the protocol. Like, y'all be killing me with that. You'll have it in your bio, like bookings, and they'll still come to you. And I feel like that people feel like they can be slick and slide in there.
Oh, they know what they be doing.
Yeah, it's like, stop doing that. It's corny. Like, follow that protocol. Give her Instagram one more time.
Nyesha, NYEESHA, as in DeeVine.
Nyesha don't play, okay? And what I can say, I want to give her flowers too, man. Please. Like, she's so professional. Like, I ain't gonna lie, sometimes it's the artist manager that will hold the artist back because they're unprofessional, they're not on point. And I'm really big about that. I'm like, I'm very calculated. I like, you know, boom, boom, boom. She's been a pleasure. Every conversation we had. She deserves all her flowers, as you do as well. You have beautiful energy.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. Who do you want to give thanks to for supporting you through your journey?
Oh my gosh. More than anything, of course, shout out to the one and only divine, the higher power, God, that made it possible for me to even know what my power is. I always got to give thanks to God. And I want to give thanks to my dad, because when I was a kid, if he didn't used to tell me gods don't mingle with the mortals, if he used to didn't say shit like that, I would have never grew up and had a God complex. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me stop. But for sure, shout out to him. You know, Eddie B, the Duval legend. Shout out to my community more than anything, because without them, then I wouldn't even fully see my reflection in them outside of me. Shout out to all of the people that are really close and near and dear to my heart that have seen me. Like, I have so many friends, partners, and everything who have like truly been very supportive of me on this journey, and I'm so grateful for that. And then more than anything, as we already know, shout out to Nyesha. And
clock that, baby.
Thank you. Shout out to you for this platform.
Of course.
And shout out to me, because without me just really getting to a point where I recognize my art, I recognize my impact, and also like having the courage to keep going after all this time, I wouldn't even be sitting right here with you.
I know that's right. Shout out to you for sure. Like, a lot of people forget that. Like, you out here making it happen. So should be super proud of yourself.
Thank you.
Definitely. So let's get into this record.
Oh, yes.
Introduce it for us.
Yes. This is Gratitude, you know, because, you know, I got an attitude of a God. What can I say? I am DeeVine. And, you know, if I'm not on your mind, then at some point I'm really going to be on your mind. Therefore, I am always on your mind, because if you're not thinking about God, then who the fuck is you thinking about?
Clock that.
So tune in to Gratitude on the Hype 87.3, where we get to see and hear what all the hype is about.
Baby.
Come and see what all the hype is about. Tune in to the Hype 87.3.
Bandcamp.